if it had come out a little bit later, I know who my vote for Person of the Year would have been, and that's our boy Luigi Mangione. So, Ate, we haven't heard your take on this yet. So, you a fan of our boy Luigi here, or what? What do you think?
Now I want you to like really ask yourself, like, what is Ate a fan of Luigi? Do the fucking course. Bro, I was doing backflips when I saw the video, dude. Fuck. I said, "Oh, it's serious now. Like this is the real world." It was, and I don't want to celebrate, extrajudicial killings.
Of course not.
It was one of the coolest things I ever seen in real life. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was cool as fuck. Bro, he pulled out with the hammer, very very calmly,
very
efficiently. 3-4 shots, he was out of there like a ghost in the night, just out of there. And everything that has developed from the story so far. And I actually wanted to get into this because I saw you guys talking about how some people believe that he might be a patsy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm one of those people. And I saw what and I saw what you were saying, TJ, about like why you don't think he is. And that was very fair, but I had some counter arguments.
Oh, let's go.
Just based on what I'd seen. But overall, very big fan of what's going on. Not a big fan of where it might lead the country, but at the very least, the initial effect of, oh, the CEOs are scared and the people are overwhelmingly in support of this because of how fucked the system is. Every leftist should be very hopeful about this right now. Every leftist should feel like, okay, this is the opportunity to actually start changing minds and start galvanizing people to what really matters.
Kyle says he's 100% a patsy. It's kind of obvious. So while we're on this, Ate, what are your counter arguments that you believe that our boy's being? Well, I guess he's not our boy if he's being set up. He's just a poor bastard who got railroaded by the government.
See, that's where I disagree. I don't think it was the government setup. The government setup. When I say that he was a patsy, or he was a fall guy, I don't even personally mean that he was a fall, because that theory specifically does not make much sense to me, because I can't really find an incentive for the government, whacking the CEO of United Healthcare. Like that doesn't, they're aligned. There's no reason for that for me. But what I think when I say patsy, I think the government set him up in a sense that they could not find who really did it, and they had to put it on somebody. This is embarrassing. They look crazy. They look ridiculous right now. Everyone and their mama. You saw the Ben Shapiro comments. Where he was in the comments, everybody was like, yo, Ben, no, it's not just the left, it's everybody. And even in the kids' jail cell, all the inmates are out there supporting it. The government looks crazy right now. So why would they not find somebody to pin this on so they could just try to sweep this under the rug as quick as possible and let that be that? And the reason I say that it feels like a setup job is because I watched a video of like what was the most professional hit I've ever seen in real life. It was single-handedly the most like fucking Hitman 2 hit I've ever seen. He didn't. Did you see him touch anything on the ground? They said they found his fingerprints at the scene. Where were his fingerprints? What was he touching? And secondly, that's New York. You telling me they were able to isolate his fingerprints in Manhattan, right outside the office of where he? No, I don't see
it. I hadn't heard of it. My guess would be his fingerprint would be on the shell casings. That's just my guess. But I hadn't heard about that. What do you think, John? Well, I guess I already gave my opinion on that. I'm pretty sure yours was similar, but what do you think?
So I'd like to just first state that I think Occam's razor, the most reasonable explanation, is the simplest, and it's that the dude who decided to commit an extrajudicial killing had a few screws loose, and just had a little bit less of them loose than most people who do this sort of thing. But that being said, that from the minute he was caught, I was just like, wait a second. You're telling me, similar to what you were saying, Ate, you're telling me that this guy, who clearly looks like a professional, or at the very least is intelligent enough to behave in a professional manner, quickly
Right.
get in, get out of the fucking city of New York. Like at that point, when someone leaves the state, leaves the city, the chances of them getting caught ever plummet astronomically. He could have already been in another fucking country by the time that they got him. And you're telling me that not only did they catch him in a McDonald's in fucking bumfuck PA, but then also he just happened to have the murder weapon on him and a manifesto, which leads off by thanking the fucking feds. Are you shitting me? Okay, like again, I'm not in the camp that it's like fake, but of all the conspiracy theories out there, I wouldn't be surprised if this one were real, because you've laid out the case, Ate. It doesn't make sense that like it makes most sense that this guy is maybe even complicit in it, because here's my other thing. If the government wanted to say fuck you, it's this guy, you'd think it would be a dead guy.
That I was right about to go there. They would just
like
kill
it's
him,
always
right.
They always
it's
kill
like, that's what I would do. I wouldn't let this guy live to see a courtroom. I wouldn't. I wouldn't have a manifesto written at all. You don't need one. The guy killed someone. So hold on. Can you guys hear this? What is that noise?
It's weird. But go ahead, John. What I think is that if they keep him alive and he is a patsy, then they can control the mouthpiece. And here's the real quick way we're going to find this out, guys. Unless the killer literally just had a really specific personal grudge against Brian Johnson, it's pretty clear this killer, if it wasn't Luigi, was making a political statement.
Right.
If it wasn't Luigi, we're about to see another CEO popped while Luigi's in custody. Maybe while he's on like live TV or something. Because that's exactly, if I were the killer and the government was framing someone else, popping someone else.
That was your theory? Was that your theory last week, John? I thought you said something like, or someone said something like that this could be a ploy by the cops to lure the real killer out, to piss him off.
I didn't say lure the real killer out. No. But I mean, they're watching fucking Death Note and they're just like, oh, I got an idea.
I got an idea. To your point, John, about, and here's the thing, and this might be like a controversial opinion, but I don't necessarily think that anybody who commits an extrajudicial killing has necessarily screws loose in the way that we would think that somebody is missing a couple screws. I think there are many instances in which somebody could be fully within their right mind and cognizant of what they're doing and the implications of it, and still commit the action. And so this really does feel like one of those, and it's rare, right? Like I think
like I can't think of, I'm trying to think of a situation where that has happened in America.
It's hard. It's in America, it's difficult. By and large, I think like most 99% of any political assassination that's ever happened was because the motherfucker was crazy. Like there was a political motive, maybe, attached to it, but the motherfucker was crazy. This just, there's something about this that feels far too intentional, especially insofar as the police try to learn.
Did the cops do that? Or I didn't know the cops did that.
That would be smart. That would be smart.
That would be smart. That would be smart. Yeah. I didn't know.
It's like so dumb that
it is dumb enough for exactly. Yeah.
Dumb enough for it to work.
It's like an episode, it's an episode of Seinfeld, and then the Kramer's accidentally there, and then the police arrest him.
It's like they know. Like look at how the person that did this, whether it's Luigi or whatever the case may be, knows what the conversation was going to turn into as soon as he did it. And now look at it. We are all talking about the awful healthcare system within the United States, and whether or not we're at a tipping point insofar as it being getting violent. I saw so many people with personal stories on every social media about my grandma's claim was denied, my dad's claim was denied, my husband's claim was denied, I lost this person lost a limb, so on and so forth. This was, in my opinion, one of the most, and I think we'll find this out in later as the months go by, this might be one of the most like important assassinations in modern times. just simply based on how the conversation is being had around it. And so insofar and so because of that, like, I don't think whoever did this is dumb enough to, like John said, get caught lacking with the fucking gun. And let's be real, that manuscript, it was a 7th grader wrote it. Like,
it was bad. That was bad, man. We were talking disappointing that. And you know what? I think, you know what? Honestly, this is where I think I may have jumped the gun, and we all did, honestly, because everyone referred to it as a manifesto before we saw it. It wasn't a manifesto at all. If anything, it was kind of like a confession letter. Like that would be, if someone said he had a confession letter and I read that, I wouldn't have that reaction. But I was expecting manifesto, and I got 150 words of like, hey, sorry for all the trouble I caused, guys, but I had to do it. I think that, I think if it was never called a manifesto, we wouldn't have this reaction. But the fact that it was called a manifesto and that they hid it, like you were saying, John, how they hid it from everybody, and then you saw it, you're like, really? This is what you decided to hide? So I am if like my honest opinion, I don't think that he was set up. I think that he more than likely did it. But I'm not saying that people who think that there's something else on are crazy. I don't, because there's a lot of weird fucking shit about this. A lot of stuff does not add up. That why he had the stuff on him. Why was fuck? Hold on. Before I go on this, there's one thing that I can't accept, and our friend Kyle said it, and I think I mentioned it last episode. John, is the argument is that when he says, oh shit, no, good job, TJ. He looks nothing like the 3 guys the police said were the suspect. That one I can't go along with, folks, because he kind of looks like he kind of looks.
Yeah, he looks a lot like him.
He looks close enough where I'm like, yeah, that
exactly.
That could be the same.
I hear this all the time that he looks nothing like the photo. I'll once again not saying that's 100% the same guy. It might be the same guy, though, right?
The coat thing is way more of smoke than
because my question is,
does look like the guy.
Is that even because I've heard conflicting reports on this? Is that image of the guy with the mask down smiling? Is that even the same guy in the video killing?
So
Brian
I've heard people say, well, this is, I haven't seen any like official thing where the cop said, no, that's not a suspect. I've never seen that like officially. You know how stuff just gets thrown out there. It's like, oh, they're saying that's not the guy, but I haven't seen that anywhere. But I mean, that's the image everyone's thinking of. So yeah, it's kind of similar to that. But the thing with him getting caught, when I first heard that they nabbed him at a McDonald's and he had a backpack with the weapon, the silencer, the manifesto, the written manifesto, I might add. A 26-year-old writing anything on paper, odd. That's strange, right? Uh-huh. When is the last time anyone listening has written a page of
that? That does feel like a fucking Inglourious Bastards meme. You're
right, it does. That's so good, John. That's true. Because honestly, I mean, like 15 years ago, I remember having to handwrite an essay for the Army. My hand was on fire writing a 2-page essay. It burned. It's just something you don't do anymore, which would explain why it's so short. But I'm saying if he had like something he wanted to get out, you think he would post it somewhere or he would type it up and then just leave for people to find. That would make a lot more sense. And then, of course, I was wondering the same thing everyone else was with, why did he have all that shit on him in the first place? What was he doing 5 days later? My only guess. Say what?
I said, why? Why did he have that shit on him?
The only thing that made sense to me is if he wanted to pop more CEOs. That's the only thing that made sense. I mean, that might not be the case. I don't know, but I couldn't imagine why else he'd have it on him. I mean,
why would he have, unless he was actively going to pop a CEO?
Yes,
in the middle of fucking Pennsylvania. What CEO? The CEO
I don't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Who's in Goods? I don't even know what CEO is going to pop. Here's the conspiracy theory that I have not heard anyone say.
Oh, let's go.
But of all the conspiracy theories, it makes the most sense. And the reason no one has said it is because it's the least interesting.
Okay.
But if I was someone who wanted to kill Brian Thompson for non-political reasons, the thing I would do was put deny deposed date on the fucking bullet.
True.
To make everyone think it was political. Like that's all I'm saying. Like if a conspiracy theory is happening here, I think that's actually the most likely one. A very rich and powerful person killed another very rich and powerful person, and the entire political thing is a smokescreen. That I think is the most likely conspiracy theory if I were to put my money on any of them. But again,
I like that.
I'm in the camp of it's probably true. But also,
I find it interesting.
It's like, why is he pleading not guilty if he wanted to get caught? That's the other thing that's blowing my mind right now.
He clearly didn't want to get caught.
Then why do you have the fucking murder weapon on him out?
Like, because apparently he's a dickhead. Sense. Like, I don't.
So yeah, it's like that right. So a lot, like either way, like if you think he definitely did it, or definitely didn't do it, things don't add up either way. Like it really doesn't. Yeah, like if he was just an innocent man that was set up like this, well, why did he have that shit? And honestly, maybe the fifth weirdest thing on here, which is also weird. From those pictures, like when people say that he doesn't look like the guy in the image, I don't buy that. I think it kind of does. But I sure as hell wouldn't be able to spot him wearing a mask at a McDonald's. There's no chance in hell. I'd be like, hey, that kind of looks like that. There's no way I'd have thought that. Even if I did, I was like, well, that's insane. I can only see half his face. Unless, oh my God. I bet he removed his mask to flirt with a cashier again.
Yeah, if he was...
No. Here's the one that reported.
I'm gonna need images of everybody at that McDonald's in Pennsylvania, because if you're willing to tell me you're a wanted fucking killer on the loose, this is when he flirted before. He wasn't wanted.
He wasn't a killer yet. Yeah,
but you know the motherfuckers got the picture of you flirting the first time. What bitch in there is bad enough to make you? Pull your mask out the second time.
Listen, friend of the show, Natalie Benson Vega, she was pointing out, she's like, look, that doesn't surprise me at all. We Italians, where the blood runs hot. I can just imagine. I imagine that Luigi, he strolled up to McDonald's, actually put the hoodie back on, put the same pose and everything, just like in there. That's his flirting pose, and he's went right into flirt mode. And the girl's like, oh my God, this is the guy. That's the only way it makes sense to me, is if he did that literal, the same pose and everything. And the reporting was weird too, because he wasn't recognized by the person who called in, I think. It was... There was this lady who recognized him and said, I think that's the guy. And she talked to someone else and he called in. I think that's what happened with this, but go ahead. Ade.
She's not getting her fucking money.
Neither I know that I get the money, which fuck that. Yeah.
No fucking coins.
But also, I think it just ain't fucking adding up. How long does one stay in a motherfucking McDonald's? Like, you're telling me that they called, they took the time, they recognized him, they discussed it, they called the police, and again, in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Pennsylvania, and then the police showed up before he left the how long has anyone ever spent in a goddamn McDonald's? Like, these police just chomping at the bit, like, oh yeah, we're gonna chase. Do you know how many fake fucking calls they got? Like,
yes. Well, maybe not in Pennsylvania. I guess, like, they probably didn't get in Pennsylvania fake calls.
But like, still,
but that's kind of the point, though. They'd be like, "Bro, nah, he not no fucking Pennsylvania." Like, if I was a cop in Pennsylvania, somebody's like, "Yo, I think nothing bumfuck Pennsylvania, where nothing fucking happens. What are the odds that you actually found the guy?" I'm not checking that shit. I'm not checking that shit.
Yeah, that would be low on the priority list. Like, what are the odds that you recognize? I saw so they took pictures of him at the McDonald's. I don't know if you guys saw that, but when he was sitting down, he was eating a hash brown or something. He removed the mask. He was eating a hash brown and shit. And so I remember talking to someone was like, well, what was he doing at a McDonald's? Like, why was he just like sitting there at a McDonald's? And my only thought was like, usually if I ever go inside a McDonald's, which is rare these days, usually I'll order it or I'll go through the drive-thru. But if I ever go sit inside a McDonald's, it's because I'm trying to use the free Wi-Fi. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much the only time that I'll go and sit inside a McDonald's. And I thought, well, maybe that's what he was doing. I don't know. I know a lot of stuff.
Rich, boy. He got unlimited data.
Then I found out he was rich.
I see at McDonald's. Is another good point. I only eat McDonald's if I absolutely have to.
All right. Well, we've had this discussion before. McDonald's is delicious.
That's right.
It is. It tastes good.
No, TJ. It's mediocre, and you're just loyal.
Oh, no. Listen. I say this all the time. John's heard me give this speech before that a lot of you folks are too good to be common folks like I am. But I'm the representative of the working man here. And McDonald's tastes good. Everyone says it tastes like shit, but everyone keeps eating it. Everyone keeps eating it because
it's ubiquitous. It's fucking everywhere.
Well, there's a reason it is. It's genetically engineered to be tasty and addictive. And it is. I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, when you bite into McDonald's, sure, it's not a gourmet meal, but it is good, and you like the taste, and you go back.
I disagree, TJ. I don't think it's good. I understand it's chemically engineered to get people hooked on it. I eat it. as an adult. As a kid, I liked it.
Mhm.
As an adult, it's like, what is this garbage going into my mouth? And
I think we're more socially enginered to enjoy it than we are fucking chemically, dude.
I
It's
agree with
not.
that,
It's not
yes.
that.
All right,
fucking-
guys. Well,
It's
well,
not-
once again, you guys speaking for the PMCs. I'm speaking for the everyday Joe Blow American who love their double quarter pounders and it tastes great. Now it makes you feel like garbage. Like eating McDonald's makes me feel horrible. So I don't do it often because of that reason. But if I had no adverse effect, I did that shit every fucking day. Of course I would. And I also want to point to another possible motivation. If Luigi did it, which we don't know, hopefully he did, because goddamn, that's cool. But if Luigi did it, I don't know if you guys saw that he had like a back surgery, I think this summer, and he disappeared for a few months. His friends didn't know where he was. They were reaching out to him saying, "Hey man, where you been? No one can find you. You're supposed to be in a wedding. We got to know what's going on." And I was like, okay, so the back surgery may have had something to do with this. We're not sure. But some fucking traitor, someone who must have hated Luigi, put out this post or something, or a theory. Oh, this one, I'd say a theory on why they think Luigi did it. And they're saying that Luigi, you see that? They said that Luigi Mangione's back surgery left him unable to have sex. Now, once again, that's just what someone said. We don't have any doctors note on that or whatever. I don't even know if it's true. But what kind of fucking snake? Why? I mean, if I found out that a buddy of mine was the most popular person in the country, even if that were true, I would never go in front of a microphone and say that. Why would you slander our boy Luigi like that?
Yo, he gets no pussy, everybody. That's why he did it. He didn't get no pussy.
Right? Oh, I hate it.
TJ, there's a very simple explanation to this. It's just like, giving a fake number. It's like, oh, sorry, I know I'm an incredibly attractive, incredibly wealthy man. My back can't do it. Yes, I'm just gonna let you down easy.
Oh, you know who would? I just thought someone who would do it. It'd be like a girl who's really into Luigi, and she finds out that everyone in the nation really, really wants it. That's true. It's like, oh, sorry, folks, nothing we can do there. I know. I don't know. What did we see? I want to see what the people say over here. I'm thinking he's a fall guy. A lot of people think he's a fall guy. Are we in the minority here, John? Let's see. There are two other photos.
You guys kind of are. Like Twitter kind of thinks this guy's a fall guy for real.
Oh, we'll see. Yeah.
So here's the thing. If he was a fall, this is the other confusing thing. There's so much. Here's the thing. If things all didn't add up in the same direction, I would be like more likely to believe it's a fall guy. It's just they're not adding up in a very scattered manner where it's like, okay, I need to learn more information here. But one of the biggest things that makes me think he's not a fall guy is that he has pled not guilty, but he also isn't saying I'm innocent and being set up. And if I don't know, if I were the fall guy, that's what I'd be saying. Can't prove he was there. Like that's his line of defense.
But his lawyer's cooking though.
His lawyer's great. His lawyer's great. His lawyer's great. Our only disappointment, I don't know if you saw, our only disappointment of this guy is that his name is not Mario. That is the only thing that would make this make this better. It would be perfect. Then I'd be like, okay, this is some sort of simulation thing. But one of my main reasons, and what I've been saying is that if they're gonna pick a fall guy, why would you pick a guy from a rich family that owns like media? They own like radio stations and they have a ton of fucking money going back a century. That's not who I would want to start a fight with someone whose family would like have the actual resources to push against this. I pick some fucking nobody who couldn't put up a fight. So like if you're actively choosing, say what?
That's very true. I said that's very true.
If you're actively choosing, he's like the last person you would choose. And also he's hot as fuck. You're gonna have the public against you. I don't know. It's just like I can't get over that part that I certainly wouldn't do that. Then again, I guess cops aren't brilliant, but that's not the route I would take.
TJ, I think I said this on the show, and kind of what I said earlier. They're controlling the mouthpiece. Like that's the Scott's hamburgers. Oh, we've missed you, Scott.
Our guy.
That's hamburgers. Hey, you guys want to pop a CEO? You guys want to pop a CEO?
We're not snitching.
Travel to another state, get a cheap meal, and not get caught. Come to Scott's in Bixby, Oklahoma. There's no rats in our kitchen. Look, man, there's no rats in our kitchen is a dynamite line. Scott's Hamburgers in Bixby, Oklahoma. A real place We've looked it up. It's a great. We haven't been there personally, but I'm sure the food is delicious. Thank you so much, Scott. All right,
I cannot wait. I'm gonna find some excuse to get to Bixby, Oklahoma.
God damn it!
Just for Scott's hamburger.
We got to do a live show from Bixby, Oklahoma one day. It'll
be the first time we meet in person at Bixby's Burgers. Scott's Burgers in Bixby's, Oklahoma. My bad.
Fucking God.
Anyway, as I was saying, it makes sense. Let me play this story out for you and tell me if it's crazy. Luigi's bumping fucking shoulders with all his dad's friends at the country club, and Luigi's actually a progressive. He's not like the other rich folk. And one of the fucking FBI dudes is there, and they're like, wait a second.
No,
this guy understands that he looks like the killer and that everyone's thirsting after the killer. And we know his lawyers could probably get him off. What if you were the fall guy?
He volunteered?
Seems like a reasonable. He's intentionally being the fall guy because the FBI would rather have a fall guy that they can control, and he's just taking the. He's like, yeah, no, I'll be the most popular guy in school.
He's gonna go to prison for
No. I think TJ. I don't think this guy's going to prison. I think he's too rich to go to prison. And if he does go to prison, it'll be
Goodfellas prison or something.
He's clearly mob. He's Italian and rich. He's gonna go to the mob prison. He's gonna join his Uncle Tony. He's gonna get
his Uncle Tony.
Wow, we're just wildly speculating.
No, you know what?
These guys do it all the time, TJ. They take deals, they go to prison. It's part of the lifestyle.
I didn't even mean to make an Italian joke there when I said Goodfellas prison. That's why I did not mean to do that. I was thinking oh yeah, the prison.
Could you picture a more clearly part of the mob guy than Luigi Mangione?
The mob.
Why do you think this random 26-year-old knows how to pop a guy so well? Come on,
but hold on. You're kind of spitting a little bit because wait a minute.
Why does he? Because John, you're right. That shooting, one of the best things.
He's an informant. They just he's playing a rat in a different way.
One of the best. There's no rats in our kitchen, Scott. My God, I'm gonna remember that for a long time. That was so good. But John, you had mentioned it when he shot that guy. The weapon jammed. He cleared the jam. His hands weren't shaking. I mean, how many people actually know how to clear a jam in a firearm and do it that smoothly and just keep going? It's the one thing that will lead me to believe he might be set up is if we dig into his past and he has no firearm experience whatsoever, because the guy who fired that weapon did. The guy, I'm not saying he's a professional, contract killer or whatever, but he didn't, his hands weren't shaking. He wasn't nervous. It was just bam, 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 done. Yeah, he knows his way around firearm, which does fall into line with John's mob theory. That's pretty good. That the connections, baby. I don't know.
I saw TikTok. I just have to shout out because it was one of the funniest things I ever saw. That it's the mob's calling Luigi, and they're like, "You killed the UHC CEO? We told you to kill UGCO." It was one of the funniest TikToks I've ever seen in my entire life.
That was great. Yeah, I saw that one. There's a guy on TikTok who does Sopranos impersonations. Speaking of Sopranos again, he's been doing them for a long time, and he did a whole thing of Tony and Christopher and Paulie talking about Luigi Mangione. It's hilarious. The guy crushes that shit. I don't know. In this house, Luigi Mangione is an American hero. End of story. End of story. All right, what do we say here? They didn't so much pick a fall guy as they found someone who looked enough like one of the three people they said were the killer. You don't need to be a genius to be a villain. Okay. All right. Who knows? Well, we'll see. I don't know.
If that's the case, Cal, why isn't he screaming to the hills that he's being set up?
Yeah, he was yelling. He was yelling stuff being pulled from the cop car, and it was. I mean, I would have been yelling. This is a setup. I didn't do it,
right? Said, it doesn't. If it all added up in the same direction, I'd be with you guys. It just.
What did he say when he was being pulled to the cop car?
I can't remember, but it was something benign, this isn't freedom or something like that. I can't remember.
That's what I'm saying. He says the dumbest shit.
Yeah,
he's not. That doesn't sound like the words of a guy that just popped a fucking CEO either. I mean, so no matter which way you slice it, there's no. There's no
Yeah.
Which is why Occam's razor, the guy just has a couple
Has some screws loose,
and
yeah.
it doesn't
I
have to make
don't
sense.
fucking believe it.
Well,
No.
look, I mean, the theatrics that went, because the reason I didn't think it was a contract killer was because of the pageantry and stagecraft that went into the killing. Like putting words on the casings, that's not contract, because that is not professional. Or the Monopoly money, not professional. It's just so.
Well, that's why I said if it was a contract killing and wanted to distract from the fact it was a contract killing, that's exactly what they would do.
Yeah, that's not an Occam's razor answer, though, right? Yeah, admittedly.
that is A, that's not an Occam's razor answer, and B. So let me follow that bunny that you just landed on the ground. The idea that some other rich asshole could have hired a hitman to kill the CEO and do it in such a way that would make it seem like a political move. Okay, why would another rich asshole inadvertently want to start a class war? Because that's where we're getting. I mean, we're talking about Luigi Mangione, but Luigi Mangione, whether he did it, whether he didn't do it, the CEO of United Healthcare is dead, and everybody.
Well, no, I got this. I'll tell you, I already got this.
All right.
What? Think of assassinations that happened recently.
2
political assassination attempts. Like if you're just like a CEO and you're just like, oh, what could distract from this what's going to look like a hit? I'm going to make it look like a political assassination. Because that's what's been in the news the last 6 months with the 2 Trump assassination attempts. And as CEO brain, you don't understand the people are going to like fucking make this a thing. Like you're right. You think because the Trump assassinations, it was like the guy didn't create any following. It didn't happen. You just thought it would be a 24-hour news cycle, just dominate it for a little bit, and then it's going to go away. Okay. That's not what's happening. And a CEO would not understand that.
It's true. They don't. The CEOs really lack self-awareness. Like genuinely, the elite sincerely lack like understanding of how the real world works. It's baffling. So I feel that. I feel that. However, in your theory, where does the guy they caught fit into it and his manifesto and what he's been saying so far? Where does he fit into this concept of?
Also a fall guy. You do a couple years with you do a couple years in Goodfellas prison, and then you get out and we'll pay you whatever. I don't know. Again, this is all conspiracy theories. None of them are fucking rock solid. And as I said, again, I'm in the camp that it's probably him, but this is still fun speculation. It's also one of the things, guys, any more conspiracy theories? Because I have another topic I want to talk about related to this guy.
No, I'm good.
Well, okay. I was gonna talk about the conspiracy thing. Well, about the topic, not necessarily this, but there's a movie called Basic. John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. It's not a good movie, but I love it. And it's about murders and everything and trying to find the causes. And John Travolta has a quote that always stuck in my mind where he said, "Murder is basic. There's no grand conspiracies, no cover-ups when it comes to murder. It's always basic." And I think that's true most of the time. Most of the time it is. And even with ones like this where, it's like, the shell casing said deny, defend, oppose. The suspect is a guy who recently had a surgery, who had like weird political. A guy commented that he had dartboard politics, which is, I love that expression. That is just like it's all over the fuck. I don't know. That kind of makes sense to me. But outside of that basic model, it looks a lot more weird and complex. Sorry, John, what were you gonna say?
Well, okay. So just to speak to that for a sec, the fact that the words were wrong on the shell casings, that's one of the biggest things to me that makes me think this is like the real thing. Because one's like, okay, you're telling me that this is the fucking man. Like this guy wanted to make this big fucking political statement and kill people, and this is his manifesto. That's one of the biggest pieces of evidence to say this is a setup to me. But then it's like, well, we do know that the words on the shell casings were wrong.
Yeah.
So like, is this just a guy who thought it through a little bit? Enough to make us think that he wasn't one of the, because as soon as I heard that, I was like, those are the wrong words. That's weird. Like, it's weird that they're the wrong words. And it's like, he's going to go through the trouble of using his fucking 3D printer, but he doesn't want to do the research. Or he's a fucking STEM major, guys. He doesn't care about the words of the communication.
The language.
He wants to make it look cool. Like, that's it. Thank you guys so much. You made it to the end of the video. I'm really glad about that. But what
all
I'm
two of you.
really glad about is that I didn't have to explain about any intersectionality with Black people in the Cold War. So if you want to hear more about that sort of thing, how about Destructive Hugo? Tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram now, dude. I'm taking myself seriously as a content creator, if you haven't heard. And I am starting to, and this is a really cool announcement, I am starting to work on long form video essays on YouTube that will go into the politics of whatever movie I'm interested in talking about. Right now, what I'm working on is the politics of the video essay I'm working on is a 3-part video essay about Spider-Man, and more specifically the live action Spider-Man movies and how each of them differ in the depiction of Uncle Ben's death. I find something really interesting about Spider-Man 1's depiction of Uncle Ben's death, because the Uncle Ben moment is supposed to be this moment where Spider-Man sort of like realizes his potential as a hero, and so as a result, us as the audience is supposed to sort of realize our potential as people, as people that could affect positive change in the world. But Uncle Ben dies trying to stop a robber. And I find that really interesting, because juxtaposed with the MCU's version of Uncle Ben, which is actually Aunt May in Spider-Man Far From Home, she dies not trying to stop a robber, which is silly, but trying to rehabilitate a supervillain. And so there's subtle political differences, not even subtle. They're not so subtle political differences between how those two Uncle Bens and the messages that come from those sacrifices. And so that's what I wanted to talk about. So I'm really excited to write it. Follow the YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube, and stay tuned.
Fantastic. Look forward to it. We appreciate you coming on, Ate. Destructo Jugo, Ate, fantastic. I would say he is our second favorite guest host. Our favorite guest host actually joined us on December 4th from the hours of 6 a.m. Eastern time to 9 a.m. Eastern time. A man named Luigi Mangione. If you guys want to check out that video, it's private on YouTube right now, but he was in studio recording with us. It was fantastic. So check that out. Thank you guys. We'll catch you later.